Slapstick humor. First up, we have slapstick humor. This is one of the most visual and physical forms of comedy. It relies heavily on exaggerated actions, physical mishaps, and visual gags. Think of over-the-top falls, trips, and accidents. Slapstick is all about the physicality of the situation, often pushing the boundaries of reality to evoke laughter. It's a form of humor that doesn't need much dialogue, making it universally understood across different languages and cultures. Satire. Next, we delve into satire, a sophisticated form of humor that uses irony, sarcasm, and ridicule to criticize or mock. Satire often carries a serious message beneath its humorous surface, aiming to provoke thought and inspire change. It requires the audience to have some knowledge of the subject being satirized to fully appreciate the wit involved. Dry humor. Dry humor, also known as deadpan humor, is characterized by a deliberate lack of emotion or enthusiasm when delivering a joke. The humor often lies in the contrast between the seriousness of the delivery and the absurdity or ridiculousness of the situation or statement. Dry humor can be subtle and requires a keen sense of timing and delivery to be effective. Wordplay. Wordplay, or puns, are a clever form of humor that involves playing with the meanings of words or phrases. This type of humor relies on the double meanings or similar sounds of words to create a humorous effect. Wordplay can range from lighthearted and simple to complex and intellectual, often requiring the audience to think a bit more to get the joke. Dark humor. Dark humor deals with subjects that are generally considered serious, such as disaster. It uses these themes in a way that is intentionally morbid or shocking, but is presented with a humorous twist. Self-deprecating humor. Self-deprecating humor is when someone makes fun of themselves, often by highlighting their own flaws, mistakes, or failures. This type of humor is often used to appear humble or relatable and can be very effective in breaking down social barriers. Absurd humor. Absurd humor, as the name suggests, involves situations, statements, or behaviors that are bizarre, illogical, or nonsensical. This type of humor thrives on the unexpected and the surreal, often leaving the audience bewildered but amused. Absurd humor challenges conventional logic and can be unpredictable, making it both intriguing and entertaining. Parody. Parody humor is all about imitation. It involves mimicking the style, behavior, or characteristics of someone or something, often in an exaggerated way. Parody humor is usually aimed at making fun of a well-known figure, genre, or work of art. It's a form of humor that requires a good understanding of the subject being parodied, as the comedy comes from recognizing the differences between the original and the imitation. Situational humor. Situational humor, or situational comedy, arises from a specific situation or context that is inherently funny. This type of humor relies on the circumstances or the environment in which the characters find themselves. The humor comes from the characters' reactions, misunderstandings, or the absurdity of the situation itself. Situational humor is common in sitcoms and often reflects everyday life in a humorous light. Sarcasm. Sarcasm is a sharp, cutting form of humor where the speaker says the opposite of what they truly mean, often in a mocking or ironic tone. Sarcasm can be playful, but it can also be biting and critical. The key to sarcasm is the delivery, as the humor lies in the contrast between the speaker's words and their true intent. Juvenile humor. Juvenile humor involves jokes that are considered immature or childlike. This type of humor typically revolves around awkward situations or topics that are traditionally considered inappropriate or embarrassing. While it might be seen as unsophisticated, juvenile humor has a broad appeal and can be very effective in the right context. Surreal humor. Surreal humor is closely related to absurd humor, but often takes it a step further by incorporating dreamlike, bizarre, or illogical elements that challenge reality. It's humor that defies conventional norms and expectations, often leaving the audience puzzled but entertained. Surreal humor can be highly creative and imaginative, making it a favorite among those who enjoy thinking outside the box. Wit. Wit involves sharp, quick, and clever remarks or observations. Witty humor is often intelligent and insightful, relying on a play of words or a clever twist of ideas to amuse the audience. This type of humor is highly verbal and often sophisticated, appealing to those who enjoy language and wordplay. Farce. Farce is a type of humor that relies on exaggerated, improbable situations, often with over-the-top characters and slapstick elements. The humor in farce comes from the absurdity of the situations, the ridiculous misunderstandings, and the rapid pace at which events unfold. It's often used in theatrical performances, where the physicality and timing of the actors add to the comedic effect. Screwball comedy. Screwball comedy is a subgenre of farce that emerged in the 1930s. Screwball comedies usually involve quirky characters and absurd situations that lead to comedic chaos, while still maintaining a lighthearted and playful tone. Highbrow humor. Highbrow humor is sophisticated, intellectual, and often requires a certain level of education or cultural knowledge to fully appreciate. This type of humor can include references to literature, philosophy, history, or other academic subjects. Highbrow humor is often seen as more refined and appeals to those who enjoy clever, thought-provoking comedy. Lowbrow humor. In contrast to highbrow humor, lowbrow humor is more straightforward and often relies on cruder, more accessible jokes. This type of humor doesn't require much thinking or cultural knowledge and is designed to appeal to a broad audience. It includes jokes about everyday life. Observational humor. Observational humor is all about finding comedy in the everyday occurrences of life. This type of humor highlights the absurdity, irony, or oddity in common situations, behaviors, or cultural norms. Observational humor is relatable, as it often draws on experiences or thoughts that most people have had at some point. Anecdotal humor. Anecdotal humor is based on personal stories or experiences that are shared in a humorous way. These stories often involve a funny incident or an exaggerated version of real-life events. Anecdotal humor is effective because it feels genuine and relatable, drawing the audience in with its authenticity. Situational irony. Situational irony occurs when there is a significant difference between what is expected to happen and what actually happens, in a way that is amusing or surprising. This type of humor often relies on the audience's awareness of the expected outcome, making the actual outcome funny due to its unexpectedness. Visual humor. Visual humor is all about what the audience sees rather than hears. It can include physical comedy, sight gags, or anything that visually presents a funny situation. This type of humor is highly effective in films, television, and cartoons, where the visual elements can be exaggerated or manipulated to create a humorous effect. Paraprostokian. Paraprostokian humor involves a sentence or statement that ends in an unexpected or surprising way, leading the audience to reinterpret the first part of the sentence. This type of humor often plays with language and expectations, making it a clever and witty form of comedy. Hyperbole. Hyperbole is the use of extreme exaggeration for comedic effect. By overstating a situation or characteristic, hyperbole can create a humorous contrast between the description and reality. It's a common technique in both spoken and written humor, often used to emphasize a point or add a dramatic flair. This video is for educational or entertainment purposes only, and information provided in the video may be incorrect. Like the video if you found this video helpful, and subscribe to the channel.